Hi there, and first of all, thank you for your efforts. I appreciate it. It's certainly heading in the right direction here, and I'd like to give you my thoughts. I'm not a 3D CAD guy. I just opened this in a freely downloadable program called FreeCAD, so I could take a look at what you got in a little bit more three-dimensionally. So these ears, I'd like to see them beefed up, a little wider, little more industrial looking, I guess, and multiple holes. I see they have 2 holes. The ears that I'm using now and ears that I've seen elsewhere have 4 holes in addition to whatever the fastening is, and that allows it to be more finely adjusted up and down. Okay, so this is the current ear that we have, and one of the things that struck out to me was that we've got 4 holes here, which presumably allow us to give us 2 holes of support here and 2 holes of support there. That's what that's all about. So it, 2 holes by themselves would be a little bit weaker as far as getting it screwed into the case because there's a lot of weight there. The position of the USB, if it's not a big deal, I'd rather see them at the top, at the bottom, with the power button at the top, and I think that creates a little bit more balanced look. The key hole is a really it really sticks out as an eyesore. Now, I know you've got some drive bays that are going over here on the right, and so I suspect that's why it was off-centered, but it would be ideal if it could be moved over to a center position. And if that means that these drives have to be hard-walled against the right wall, that's okay. There doesn't need to be any space there. I see if I highlight that right now, we've got about a 1/4 inch on the right, or whatever it turns out to be. Maybe that's enough to get the job done. Otherwise, I don't know what you'd do. You could put the keyhole above the LED screen, which would center it there, but then it would look kind of funky as well. So anyway, I'd love your thoughts on that, but I would like to see it centered if it's at all possible to do so. That really matters. I suspect that these LED and hard drive measurements are based on the latest, and I'm curious, do you have a 6-bay drive assembly that you can recommend as part of this build in the same way that you did with the LED screen? Because I'm really at a loss there as well. Really love the ventilation on the side. That's going to go a long way to making sure this server stays cool. And I think that's all I really have to add to this. Early on I talked about the more industrial looking this is, the better off I'm going to like it. Even though it fits the criteria for the most part, it's still a lot of sheet metal, right? I am going to, let's talk about this front panel. I'm going to want to have my logo lasered or ideally engraved into the metal on that front panel as part of the build process. And so that would need to make sure that this plate is not too difficult to remove. And I don't know if that's a possibility. I know you've got the LED screen that would have to be taken off, and then the plate could be sent out for engraving. And so I want to make sure that's at least possible. I see the piano hinge down here, and I have a fear that this thing is going to be so hardwired into the system that I can't remove the plate to send it out for engraving. Because we're going to be using this case for other purposes other than just the server matter server, which means we're going to want the engraving for that purpose, but we're not going to want it if we're selling them as a gaming desktop or some other purpose. And so how would you create that in such a way that it could be detached from the front? If you could give that some thought and see if there's something that you can think of that would allow for that to happen. And that's it. Those are my thoughts. I'll put this video as an unlisted video on YouTube so nobody else can see it, and put it in my comments. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.